It's episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again, and we're back reviewing that episode in our review series here at Talk Punch. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey!
And Charlie Hickman.
Hello.
We are watching Daredevil. Charlie?
All right. Look, this was a tension-filled, emotionally charged episode, The Hollow of Its Hand, episode 3. So we're going to walk through it. If you watched our last one, we're going to kind of go through some of the scenes and kind of talk about things that we noticed, things that we saw, things that we felt. And boys, as always, if I don't stop to ask you something, but you have something to say, make sure you jump on in. All right, so we get to open up inside the jail cell here, a nice emotional opening scene. We get to talk about the Koki frog and the music of the island and kind of what is like a pretty good powerhouse, acting performance from the late and great, and forgive me for the name pronunciation, but Camara de los Reyes. Right?
Dylan, is that right?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, thank you. Let's just pause here for a second, just because look, this is kind of like we say goodbye to this actor in real life, and so this is kind of a nice like scene to kind of show off his acting chops. And there's a few of these, so let's just kind of lump them together a little bit. These kind of one-on-ones with these two characters, with Ayala and Matt. How did that hit you this episode?
Hard, really hard. I mean, I don't know. Like it was one of those things where it was a beautiful thing that was really difficult to kind of watch because you just didn't. It's one of those things where you just kind of were like, you just didn't really want it to end because you knew exactly once this is done. I mean, there's not really going to be any other performances, and
Yeah.
I mean, gorgeous. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I think Charlie Cox is an excellent actor. Yeah. I mean, they're both fantastic actors, and they were really showcasing it. You can really tell that they didn't do a lot of reshoots with this. I mean, it was really like courtroom intensive, but you know what? I think they really pulled it off. I thought they pulled it off fantastically. When he went on the stand and he was just saying, like, because it was the right thing to do, I was just like, that's a great guy. Really
We're not there yet.
You said lumping them together. Well, Charlie said
But that's not a one-on-one scene, to be fair.
True.
Brody, how did this opening hit you? Like, we've had a variety of openings. The first two opened action. This one opened with more of that kind of weighty dialogue and kind of more of a heavy emotional toll. How did that feel coming out of that kind of ending, that kind of action-packed ending of episode 2?
Yeah, it was slower. It was kind of more intimate. Learn about kind of bringing past and talking about frogs. How the tourists just think it's annoying. Finds it beautiful. And then Matt was like, "You're going to go back there one day." I was kind of like, he was like,
I'm shipping you out there, buddy.
I promise you're going back. And it was like, I don't remember him saying,
You're not
like,
welcome in my
I
city.
can't wait to go back. But I think it was just a sweet thing.
It was this week.
I think you'll see that again.
Yeah, it was a "you're not going to rot in jail" like motivational speech.
Yeah, exactly. But it was sweet.
All right,
it was very nice.
I wasn't sure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dylan.
The one thing that I was a bit surprised by is, and I guess we're kind of going a little bit ahead, but I mean, this also goes from that last scene that we saw in the last episode. I swear, the cop who came into the bathroom and was like, "Oh yeah, you're a blind lawyer who knows how to fight." Wasn't he the guy who I thought Matt Murdock broke his neck in the last episode? At the very end, I was like, he's like, "Oh, you got a black eye," and I'm like, he has a black eye? How does he not have a broken neck? How is he walking around? That is real. I thought he killed them both. That's why he yelled at the end. He didn't kill them. I thought they were dead. And here they're coming right on. Like they're okay. They should have been in serious. At least the other guy. Like his arm was destroyed. He can't use it anymore. I mean, I thought
a little bit odd. Yeah, I thought there would be more follow up with that. Maybe some more consequences, more mention of it. and we do get kind of an impassing conversation that we'll get to here in a few scenes. But yeah, so it was interesting, kind of like shifting from the end there and kind of anticipating that we would kind of start almost immediately after that to kind of get this emotional scene. We go from here, and then they're saying, all right, well, we don't want to just only be emotional, so let's do a quick little truck hijacking scene with a couple of guys getting their heads blown off. And, and then can we talk a little bit like the BB report thing?
Yeah.
I'm just not connecting with it. It's
You don't like
these
it?
kind of like mood breaking, kind of like transitional, like random man on the street interview type thing. I don't know. It's not working for me. Is it working for you guys?
No.
I
And exactly the same way. I saw this and I was just like, oh, great. This is going to be scattered throughout this from now on.
I'm
I don't care what the average guy in the street says. They're like, oh, it's great. Daredevil's excellent. And I hate him. I don't care. I truly don't care what they think.
I don't know. I'm not sure how exactly I feel. I think there's some of them where it kind of pops on, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a funny little take from like what is his thoughts on it? I think it's kind of fun. But then other times I'm like, okay, I don't need this right now. I want to kind of along with the story. I don't need a second break. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't I at this
It's not
point
even her either.
I'm at a take it or leave it. She's obviously like playing a part because now she's Fisk,
Sure.
whatever
Yeah,
that turns into.
this almost feels like yeah, it almost feels like a way to keep her in the story without her being in the story. Like, so don't forget, hey, she's gonna be important. Don't you
Yeah,
forget.
really should have been
Well,
Ben
anyway,
Urich.
should have
Yeah.
been. That's okay though. Mistakes were made. Um, like it is what it is. I'm sure it'll be fine, or I'll just continue to hate it. But it's not going to make me like not like the show. But it's not that bad. All right, so we go from the latest BB report. So we see two guys get their heads blown off. We see a quick BB report, and then we're all the way in the dining room here. Fisk and Vanessa are eating and getting told about the hijacking. What the chemistry between these two? I'm loving. You guys feeling that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's much different
Absolutely.
from the past.
Yeah. But they
I guess
still
when I
have
say
that
chemistry,
chemistry.
not like chemistry, but like like the actors bouncing off of each other. Like just the face stuff is good. Really good actors like just tell so much of the story with just like their eyes and their face.
Mm,
Some
mm.
coldness there. Sorry, go ahead. Dylan, you were saying I jumped in on you. Sorry, but
Me? What was I saying?
who can remember?
Uh,
You were just happy.
I agree. I
You
think
love Vanessa.
I'm glad they went back with the original actress, and I really like that I don't know why I am so just like, and they're in marriage counseling. I think I love it. I don't know why I love it. It just, I think it's great. I love seeing them do that. I think it's almost like one of those things where I'm like, come on, I want you guys to be on the same page again. You guys were totally on the same page before, and it was great. Let's get back on the same page, and I want to see exactly how they do that. I'm very curious to see if he actually did or didn't kill this Adam character guy.
He definitely killed him. He definitely killed him.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do think that it's interesting that she wants to be this mob. She wants to like do all this stuff. She's pulling the strings. Get kind of this a line later in the episode, like, oh, he's talking about Vanessa. People
mhm.
aren't working for Kingpin. People are working for Vanessa. She
Who is
wants to
now
do all
Kingpin?
this stuff, and Kingpin is like, no, we got to do things different. So it is kind of this interesting dynamic. Him trying to do the political thing, her wanting to do the Kingpin.
I think
It's
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 great.
it's a good like background building block. Each kind of week we're kind of seeing a little bit more of that dynamic kind of play out in real time. There's some not so subtle imagery with like the long table and they're at either end to illustrate the distance. I think it's gonna be fun to kind of see that unfold and how the power plays for the head of the crime family unfold. This whole like where they're kind of fading from the Kingpin's hand directly into Matt Murdock's hand, like the not so subtle. There are two men they're struggling not to be the devil
Yeah.
that's inside of them, kind of thing. It's a little ham fisted. It's a little on the nose, but that's fine. Um, I wrote two men, both devils. Ooh, like
Ooh.
this, you know, uh, we get to kind of see a little bit of that, and this is kind of like the sassy Matt scene we get in the bathroom. And I love some sassy Matt. Um,
Yeah.
this is kind of
Yeah.
like the wrap up or resolution of that episode too. What'd you guys think of the bathroom scene where he's kind of confronting the cop?
They
I
must have okay. The fight in like the last episode, it must have been something they switched, and then they just were like, "Well, we'll just keep this dialogue here because this guy should have been dead." He's walking and he's like, "Oh, you've got a black eye. Sorry about that." I'm like, "He has a black eye? Okay. What about his broken neck?" But I mean, like, all right,
yeah.
well, hey, that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. We're moving on, and that's okay.
Onwards and upwards.
I was like, I was. It was surprising to me how exactly just blatant that these cops are shockingly corrupt. Like some of them.
Yeah.
The other ones are not. I actually loved hearing. Well, I don't want to keep going forward, but I mean, I thought that was great. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see Matt a little bit, just a smidge more threatening. But I always love it when he's nice and arrogant, and the other guy knows that there's no possible way he can hurt him.
Yeah. I wrote down the same thing. I was like, so that dude lived? Because I
Right?
I went back today, and rewatched that scene. There's a definite crack sound as he goes like straight onto his face and neck, and then he showed up and had like a black eye, and it's like,
Like
okay,
really?
all right,
Have you got have you guys not learned the lesson? We talked about this in episode 1. Matt knows exactly how much to hurt someone without killing him. He gets right up to that line. He can throw a bullseye off a roof, and
sure,
he's got the telemetry figured out. He's not going to die. He's going to be just fine. I can crack this guy's neck and face on the floor. You know what? Black guy,
black.
nailed it.
Yep. Oh,
He's got the moves.
it's a good point. Good
I,
point.
he yelled in the end at the end of that scene after he supposedly what seems like he kills them. He then screams out like, "I screwed up again. I tried and this and that." And I'm like, that's why I was like, "Whoa, he killed these guys." And I was like, "Why did he have to yell? If he just like gave him a black." He's walking fine. He's like standing upright. I was like, interesting. This guy must have an adamantium like spine as well.
Maybe he does. Maybe he
Adamantium
does.
Everybody has
face.
adamantium spines now.
The the Adam character is adamantian. All right, so this is good. So we get like we get some like quick cut scenes here after the bathroom scene. We get the safe house with the witness, and Cherry's giving him some drugs, and then we kind of get this like back and forth now because this is a real tension building scene. If you're a fan of courtroom drama shows, this episode really does deliver quite a lot of
Yeah.
courtroom drama,
A lot of
tension. Really good acting, really good like deliveries of lines. A lot of like just
Mhm.
if you're into that, like and it's a popular genre, this really does deliver that.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel a lot of that tension as they were kind of like bringing the witness in and kind of cutting back and forth between the testimony and
Oh,
the witness driving car, all
yeah.
that stuff?
When they were bringing the
Yeah.
witness in, and they had Cherry driving that van, then the cop, who was the same cop that had his neck broken that I thought was in the courtroom, I guess he's out
Yeah.
on patrol on a motorcycle, was the one that like pulled him over, like because Matt's sitting there like, he'll be here. And then they did the old switcheroo, and I watched it
Yeah.
again, and like the way that they did it was, is that his Cherry?
Cherry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But they have him open up the door. The other guys walk past, and so it looks like they're walking towards the van, but like they just walk past the van, apparently. So it was really well, like
Yeah.
when they opened up the door, it was like, and they show him getting out of a cab.
Yeah, I thought they were dead. I thought Cherry was dead. I thought the witness was dead. I was like, "Yep, nope, they're dead." Matt's gonna be like, "What happened? I don't know what." But yeah, I love that. That tension was excellent. And
Yeah.
That cop guy is horrible. Too. He is like like such a horrible person. They're talking about these like accolades, but he's like pulling over Cherry, like calling him, busting out his badge, and like it's really
Why didn't Matt kill him?
should have.
The timing was interesting because we do. I mean, I guess there's recesses and things, but he does deliver his testimony on the stand. We see that guy with the Punisher tattoo on his neck going like, he can't be allowed to testify, and then all of a sudden it's the same. Powell is out on the street now in pursuit. How he knows where the van is, we don't know. How there's just hey, it's some TV magic, and we tip our hats and we
I
move on.
assumed that people were watching them, like get in the
How do they know where the safe house is though?
got spies.
They got eyes everywhere. But then why didn't they just kill him when he was at the safe house? No,
I
it
don't
turns
know.
out
I
they
don't
didn't
know.
really need to kill him because he got up there and he sure didn't give the testimony that he was supposed to give there. And it's a classic call an ambulance, but not for me kind of moment there as the police are all aghast. Oh no! He does the old switch. It's back to back switcheroos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did that surprise you guys? The testimony,
I
or did
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
I don't know that I was like I understand that they wanted to kind of throw a wrench into that, but I was sort of like, okay, so then what was the point of this guy? Like they were hiding him, and then like did he just get scared all of a sudden? Like what's this guy's deal? Like did they have something on him, or was he just scared by looking at cops? Like what was why did he all of a sudden turn around? I didn't down for Matt. I
Personally,
feel like there could have
personally,
been more that Matt probably could have done.
I think that he knew what he was going to do the entire time. That's what I think. I think he sat there and was just like, hey, you know what? If they're going to get me there, then this is what I'm going to do. He had no reason to start talking about the truth once he was on that stand. In fact, he had every reason to lie like he did. Like I was surprised that he did it, but at the same time, I was like, all right, well, it kind of makes if he's scared of the cops, like why was he going to testify at all? They gave him some drugs so he doesn't get the shakes or throw up or anything.
Yeah.
But they're not like giving him more or anything. Those cops put him in all of that stuff, or they just gave him poison so he could go and die after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I personally think he was doing it that way the entire time. Absolute trash.
It was interesting. Like it didn't like it seemed like, and again, I feel like I'm being real nitpicky. It seemed like one of those just kind of like, just to kind of, plot armor type things. Like why he's not compelled. Like Matt has no authority to compel him to testify. If he didn't want to testify, he could simply say, I don't want to testify.
Yeah.
He could simply just not go to the safe house if he had this plan all along. And they didn't really make him seem very scared on the stand. It wasn't like he looked real terrified. So it was kind of a weird. It just kind of seemed like I get why they did it because they wanted to get to a place where Matt had to talk about the fact that he was the White Tiger. He had no other plays. There's no other moves, so he's backed into a corner. So I don't know. This could have been part of like the rewrites and reshoots and things that kind of made it a little less clean. But if you don't overthink it, it was fine. Hey, we get to see sassy Matt in this episode. We get to see angry Matt in this episode.
Yeah.
We get to see earnest and sincere Matt, and we certainly get to see flirty Matt later on.
But you know
But
what we
this-
didn't
this-
see? You know what Matt we didn't
was it Daredevil Matt?
see? Any Daredevil Matt. Zero Daredevil Matt.
Yeah.
This is episode 2 where we have zero Daredevil.
Three.
And I-
Oh yeah, episode 3. Episode 2. Yeah. Two.
And I know that like the original I'm like and we'll get to this but I was like done with this storyline. Get some Daredevil.
I figured, hey, you know what? He was trying to. The reason we don't see Daredevil right now is that we're showing him at like I don't know, like not exactly a crossroads, but he's looking. He even was talking like to Hector Ayala, saying like, hey, there's other ways you can help. He was saying that. He's like, you can't like when he was saying like you're not going to be able to be White Tiger ever again. He's like, well, I'm going to just do it anyways. He's like, There's other things you can do, and I think this is kind of showing how he's trying to do that. How he is trying to help while it's still Matt Murdock as opposed to Daredevil. And I mean, I love when Daredevil comes out, but I also love the character of Matt Murdock. And I thought I it's not that I didn't miss Daredevil, but it was just I was just kind of like I was rooting for Matt. I was like, come on, let's do this. Like you've got this. I see exactly what you're doing, and I'm rooting for you, kid. Come on.
We'll talk about it when we get to the ending, but they keep ending these episodes daring him to become Daredevil again. Like, like each episode kind of ends with like, "What are you gonna do now, Devil Boy?"
Right.
So the scene that Brody was referencing earlier is what happens next. We get to go under the bridge with our British friend. Um, quick little aside: when we were much younger, we made a little detective film called Capoletti, and we just had random friends, that had no acting experience, and we were all just doing it. And then it was the 2.5K. It was like all this. It was a big paper over 2.5 thousand, and it was a scene that we'd already filmed, so we just referred to it as the 2.5 for the rest of time.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about the 1.8, the 1.8. I just had to laugh. Sorry, it's no one cares about the old home movies you made when you were younger, but it just cracked me up. I couldn't stop laughing. It's the 2.5. I'll kill everyone for $2,500. All right, so the 1.8. The big takeaway is the one that Brody mentioned. I don't work for the mayor, I work for the man. That was like certainly kind of like
Right.
a cementing of what you kind of already suspected and maybe felt of the power structure of that organization.
Well,
Anything you guys want to add to that scene?
There's essentially like a gang war happening now because Kingpin is kind of wants to be more hands off, and so these gangs are kind of going at each other, and at this point, like have started like killing each other. So like the like Vanessa's Wesley, from season
Yeah.
1 shows up and is like, you owe this guy 1.8, So like she's trying to like put it all back together, but it is interesting that like as the Kingpin is off, going off on their own.
Well, at the end,
I have to-
when we finish. Sorry, go ahead, Dylan. Go ahead.
Go.
At the end of the season, we'll have to compare henchmen
Yeah.
and see who would win in a fight, the Wesley or the British guy. I should really know the British guy's name. I've just gotten so accustomed to calling him the British guy. I don't know if anyone said his name in the show yet.
I don't know.
Do you guys know his name offhand?
I don't know. Does he have a name? Let us
I
know
don't
in the comments.
British guy.
Gotta be an icon.
Hello.
Wesley was just shot and blown away completely out of nowhere by Karen. So I think that the British guy would probably just smash him flat, especially since he's already dead.
Buck Cashman. Great name. I mean, Cashman. I mean, that's like
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I have to say,
and he's in the comics, but he has the beard. He's a big dude in the comics. Certainly doesn't look like a polished, refined British gentleman, but
I thought it was interesting that Vanessa completely called him out because when he said, he's like, oh yeah, we'll have a little chaos and we'll let them kill each other off, and then so on and so forth. And it's really funny because I was just like, well, now that makes sense. Yes, why not? And then she's just like, you're doing it to punish me. And I was just, oh yeah, maybe he's doing that too. Although it still makes sense.
yeah, he's a regular punisher.
They're really, really foreshadowing that. Let me tell you.
They sure are not very. Speaking of things that aren't very subtle, but we get that's a good scene for us to jump to. I mean, there's a quick little back at the office for a regroup, but nothing really happens there. So
Yeah.
the therapist's office, we get them kind of sitting there and kind of talking while the therapist is out of the room before she comes back in and is like,
What was she
let's
doing?
get back to it.
What was
What?
the therapist doing? She just like left? She take a phone call? She go to the bathroom? Like what?
I think it was a tinkle break for sure. I think she said the word tinkle. No, I don't think it ever
sitting there,
said.
like arguing, and then she walks in. She's like, "Sorry for that. Let's get back to your session."
And that's one of those things that like it could end up being like there was something that was happening that's like important, or just like hey, they needed an excuse for why they were sitting there talking with only the two of them, so they could talk about the stuff that had happened.
Yeah.
And then the therapist walks in, and is like, "Oh, you finished that up? Like here I am." So could go either way. I'm probably leaning towards the second, that she was just kind of out of the room, so that why is she out of the room? Better to not say a reason and have people just assume than
She's
get
like, I'm a
into
therapist. I don't need reasons.
it. But I thought that was it was a pretty compelling scene between the two of them, like talking about the chaos and the
Yeah.
peace and all that. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty good.
definitely. Definitely.
All right. Well, so we go from the therapist's office back to the courtroom, and Matt has outed, or Matt, he's about to out Ayala as the White Tiger as he's on the stand. It's kind of their Hail Mary play, which erupts into a tongue lashing in the back of the judge's office. Brody, you love that judge. That's your favorite judge. So let's just
Why
we're
do
gonna
I
lump
love
all
this
this
judge?
together. We're kind of you hate the judge. You talked about how he was a really rude, mean judge.
Oh, he is a mean.
Yeah. So let's just kind of like this. So this whole thing, right? We got the courtroom, we got Ayala's testimony, we got some BB report, we got Matt in jail talking to Ayala again, back in the courtroom with the testimonials of White Tiger, and then closing arguments. This all kind of happens in pretty quick succession. Why don't we just kind of like, if there's anything from that sequence of scenes that you guys want to highlight, let's hit it.
Okay, so I realized that Matt really wanted to win this case, and ultimately did. But like revealing White Tiger's identity just seems responsible. Like Fisk just kind of ran a campaign on like anti-vigilance. You're in a courtroom full of police who I don't know if the Punisher symbols anti, but like I don't know. It was just like here's this dude's secret
A
identity.
very odd hypocrisy if those were anti-vigilante police officers who were literally acting like vigilantes.
Well, I think that's where they're going with it. I don't know. It was kind of like, oh wow, like you just kind of put this guy's family at risk, but like he's his a wife and niece are like sitting right there,
Yeah.
and he's like, all right, this guy that's been beating up all these bad guys, who he is, like I don't know. It felt kind of irresponsible. I get what he was going for character. I was like, that's and clearly not with the
I
way
have to
that
say,
this episode
I
ended.
have to say, I mean, like, for how it ended, I have to say that it was irresponsible for him to just kind of put the White Tiger thing back on and just be like, I'm just going to go back out on the streets. This is
Yeah,
the difference
that's on him.
between people like Daredevil, people like the Punisher. I mean, like, and then just people who are like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a mask on and I'm gonna try and help. Hey, yeah, I've got super strength, but that's that's fine. There's a huge gap in between there because that never was going to happen to Daredevil, the Punisher. You don't ever see that kind of a thing before we get there, of course. But I mean, like, I think that it was
I know what you're talking
responsible of Ayala and his whole family. I was like, dude, what are you doing? This is the part where you're like, and now I am going to go ahead and get several tickets out of the country. I'm out of here. Why are you sticking around?
Sure.
Yeah,
should
go
have
see the
left.
frogs. Go see the frogs.
Should have gone to see.
Yeah, he should have gone. He should have gone from the trial to the airport. I would have been like, honey, we're out of here. Forget this. We can help people back wherever we want to go. You don't have to go back to your country. Just go someplace else where they're not actually
Get out of New
literally
York.
gunning for you. Yeah.
Don't be in New York anyways. All the bad stuff happens in New York and the MC.
In the MCU, yes.
Yeah, go west, young man. Go west. Uh, I think all of that is fair. I do think it was a little bit of like that whole. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. As they have that little dialogue between them after, and he's like, "Hey, sorry about that. I know I probably you should have asked. You should have asked me first. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you're
should
probably
have.
right, but did want to win, so uh, yeah. So yeah, maybe not like maybe a violation of superhero code there.
Yeah, okay. I'll accept that. That makes sense. Yes. And
from one masked man to another. Maybe we don't lift up the mask. But yeah, it certainly didn't lead to a good outcome. Now you knew he was going to get acquitted, right? So the
No,
not
I didn't.
guilty verdict was. You didn't?
No,
Didn't either. I had no clue. I thought, nope, he's not doing this. They're gonna say he's guilty.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So from the very first like moment of episode 1 when they kill Foggy, I'm just waiting for like the things that are going to pull Daredevil back into being Daredevil. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this whole plot line, I'm like, it's going to end with him dead. The Ayala's going to die. Like there's no escaping it. I don't know if he would die in jail or if they get to him or what. But as it happens, it's a much kind of sadder kind of outro to the episode. But like they're not. If things are good and he's making a difference through being a lawyer, then he's just going to stay a lawyer. So they have to show him not making a difference. I just didn't think he would lose the case because then it's like, well, if he had just been a better lawyer, then the system would have worked. And he's drinking that toast of like, hey, the system worked, and every now and then justice is served, and it's obviously gonna be quite a rude awakening in the next episode. So I kind of had this like bad feeling the whole time. I was rooting for the character to get a nice send off just because, man, R.I.P. But just it was a poignant ending, and I guess we're all the way at the ending. So we have
hold on. Real quick. When
Yeah.
when Matt was going through and giving kind of the testimony to the officer,
Oh yeah.
name a Officer Morales. I was like,
Yep, that's right.
I wonder if that Officer Morales has a son named Miles. That was
big brain.
That was a
Now, the funniest thing I thought was that the White Tiger gets killed in the not just the MCU continuity, but the actual comic book run. But he instead was trying to escape custody, and then he got shot. As opposed to what happens with this, where he's like acquitted and then he gets shot. I mean, seriously, if there was like a sniper rifle, that would have been a little bit more like that gun seemed like okay. Maybe I haven't. I mean, I just saw it yesterday, but it seemed like there was a gun right to his head. How like I he has like
so we're moving right on
he
to
has like
that
a
scene,
super gun.
right? Right on to that.
Yeah,
But all right, before we get there, let me just see if there's anything else you guys want to go through. So we have the not guilty. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about the courtroom stuff, please shout it out. Good call on the Officer Morales thing. I did jump over that.
I think the
we have
the DA's explanation of getting
yeah.
I don't know if you would still be. He said that you would still be alive until they backed up the train. Also talked about all of your like.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know if he's still alive.
yeah, I really don't.
And like,
doubt
how it's
it.
going to take a while for that train to stop, and I would imagine you're dead. I'm just saying.
I could imagine you're soup at that point. I don't care how superpowers you have. You're dead when you're soup.
Don't test it. Don't test it at home. That's it.
I won't.
That's it. Yes, it's a different kind of superpower.
Maybe
that was all I had in mind.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and the closing arguments were compelling. It was good. And then we get kind of really angry Fisk reacting to the verdict and give me BB, which is just a hard name to say as a tough guy. Like it's a really hard name to call someone like give me Skippy or it's just give me BB. I need to talk to BB. It's just I don't know. It's not the kind of name you can be a tough guy. It's like drinking out of a straw as a tough guy. You can't pull it off. It's just so. But he's not happy. So we get a little glimpse until I think we'll get. I'm sure a lot more of this as stuff rolls on. But we get them talking. We get a lot more of Fisk's point of view and talking really kind of not so veiled about what's about to happen to Mr. Ayala. He's not exactly being real stealthy with his innuendos here. Sometimes you just need to hit somebody with a Punisher vest on and have him shoot the guy right in the head. More or less is what.
Metaphorically speaking, metaphorically.
Just kind of recapping. Yes. Off the record.
Off the record.
And again, I don't know why I sound like the Men in Black version, but still there I am. Give me a sugar water. It was nice to hear Matt talk about Foggy, like to get a little bit of that
Yeah,
on the date.
Miss Foggy.
Yeah. I am reading way too much into their relationship. Every time they're together, I feel like there's something nefarious at play. Just because, like, I feel maybe I'm just jaded, but like it feels like there's some undercurrent of something else that I'm
Really?
just probably. I know. Look,
What?
I'm
Whose
not saying there
relationship?
is the Matt and the Doc. Um, like I don't know. It's totally a me thing. It's not a the show is not doing anything to give me these feelings. Um, look, I'll watch the an episode of the kids TV shows or something, and like I'm like, oh, this guy's clearly like a double agent, and it's like, no, this is just a very simplistic children's show. There are no double agents, but my brain's just jaded, and so I'm like, all right, Scotty, oh man, this guy's this minion is gonna betray all the other minions, and they're all going down. Um, so whenever they're together, I'm not feeling that romantic chemistry as much yet. I do like flirty Matt. I do like Matt talking about his feelings, but I'm just still like a little. Hmm. Maybe she was out of that room, and because she's really working for somebody else here, or something. Something's at play, and really they're just a nice little couple, and Matt can have a nice love life. They're replacing the Rosario Dawson sexual tension and the Electra sexual tension with the Doctor sexual tension. The Doctor is in.
The
Uh,
doctor is in.
well, we've talked about it like 9 times already, but this is the ending, right? So we get the White Tiger out in the street.
Yeah.
He's strolling.
He's barely strolling. He like steps out of his apartment and hears like a woman scream.
Yeah.
And so he
Yeah.
wanders
So-
over.
Oh, dude, like, are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Did you
It's
guys
like he's kick-ass. That's what he is. He's just kind of walking along. I really thought there would be a lot more stealth to it. Like, you don't see Daredevil doing that. You don't see the Punisher doing it. You sometimes see Spider-Man do it.
Spider-Man does it.
He's got spider senses,
He does.
Yeah.
He does have the Spidey sense, so
so he can do
you can't
that.
pull a fast one on Spidey.
Yeah, he was just kind of strolling down the sidewalk.
Believe it when I saw that.
Did
I
you
was like,
guys
"You're
did you guys
kidding,
see that
dude."
coming? You guys see the shot coming? You did?
I mean, as soon as they as soon as they cut him, I've been expecting him to die this whole time. I'm just like, there's no going to be no happy
Yeah,
ending for this
yeah.
poor guy.
I had
Yeah.
And then
no
as soon as he
idea.
starts walking down the street and he starts going, like it seemed kind of like, all right, well there it comes. Here it
I
comes.
had no idea. Totally took me by
Bro.
surprise.
We never ever see any superhero put his costume on and then stroll outside like that. When I saw that, I was like, "Is he kidding? Why is he doing this? Why isn't he like going from like roof to roof? You got enhanced strength. You got to be able to jump higher or something. Get off the sidewalk."
It's true. It's true. At the time though, I did not see it coming.
His character also dies in the comic books.
Yeah, and that's why his niece takes it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
I
didn't
mean, like, I was
see
waiting for. I knew it was going to happen.
I was surprised when somebody just stepped out of the shadows, pulled a trigger. Like it was very fast and it was surprising. But I was like, "Oh my."
Bro, this is why you're not allowed to ever actually become a superhero, because you'd just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go for a stroll. It's fine. I'm helping people." And I would be calling on the phone, be like, "Bro, are you on the sidewalk again? Are you kidding me? Get up to the freaking get any place else but the sidewalk. No, you do that. Come on, get into your Broadmobile. Bulletproof. It's gotta be. What do you mean you didn't bulletproof it yet?"
True. True. No, all valid points.
And we're all on board with the obvious that wasn't the real Punisher there at the end. Or
Yeah. No,
No, that's not
absolutely,
Punisher.
we're on board
Do
with
you
that.
do you think you think it's that cop? Like the cop that
Yeah,
hated cop?
absolutely.
seems likely. It could be it could be a way to introduce a new hierarchy of bad guys. Like clearly there's some kind of like gang within the NYPD here that's got the Punisher tattoos and is following kind of this we're not I don't even think we can call it vigilante. I think it's certainly more like a mob, like a mafia style,
Yeah,
where they're kind of they're not taking him out for justice but more for
Right.
vengeance and greed and such. But And whether how much they're entangled with Kingpin and Vanessa and all that stuff will be interesting to see. It wasn't like Bullseye. Yeah, that was
yeah. No,
he's
I
still
did
as
consider
far as we
that,
know still in jail.
as far as we know.
I mean, it wasn't a cool enough kill. The Bullseye,
yeah.
where's the
Bullseye
style?
wouldn't walk up and have a gun right to him. He would do it from like 3 blocks away or something.
And he wouldn't
Who
and he
else could
wouldn't
it be?
wear a
Maybe the
Punisher shirt.
cop with the.
Yeah, could be.
They did
Yeah.
highlight that guy multiple.
Yeah,
sure
that's
did.
also that's true.
Like,
That's true.
Watch out for this guy.
I don't know, but
Future
yeah,
episode.
it's clearly not Frank Castle. I'm not sure who it is. My first thought was that cop that had his neck.
Yeah.
Should
Maybe
be that.
he's Wolverine. That's not a serious
Maybe he's Wolverine.
speculation. Don't yell at me.
You heard it here, folks. Brody thinks that Detective Powell is really Wolverine.
Logan.
This is the introduction into the X-Men universe for Marvel.
That's how they're
Wow.
introducing Wolverine.
What
I
a
could have killed you with
terrible-
my claws, bub, but instead I shot you in the head.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh,
I kind of knew we were going to hear this. I knew we were going to hear the frogs in the end. After that, I was like, "Yeah, let's
that was so sad.
going to hear those frogs."
That was really sad.
to just have the frogs at the end. So sad.
People have said that a lot of times in the MCU, at least, when you die, you go to the place that you kind of believe. Like Jane Foster went to like Valhalla or wherever she went. Like other people are going to the different places, and like that was supposed to be him, kind of going back to the whole thing, which makes it even more sad when you think about it.
So that's what Matt meant when he said,
Yeah, that's what he meant.
You're gonna die.
I don't think that's what he meant. I'm sure they don't know about it in the continuity. But I mean, like when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's him listening to those again in the afterlife.
That's what Matt promised.
Promised you'd be here, but I did it. I delivered my promise. You made it.
Hey.
You made it back, buddy. The frogs. They sing for you now.
Enjoy
Poor
your
Matt
frogs.
Jeez. I'm sure he feels horrible hearing that. In that case.
It was a powerful way to end the episode. Like really smart.
Yes.
Like a really nice way to end that episode with the sound of the frogs just chirping, singing. Really like kind of classy way to end that episode.
Absolutely.
I know we got to do some rating here. You guys have like predictions here. Is this going to be the tipping point to be like full on Daredevil, or you think it's just getting him a little bit closer to that edge, and there's one more big shove coming?
Well, I know that we still have Muse. That like we haven't even kind of the graffiti all over the city. Whether that's him, whether else, but Muse is coming, and they got to get into that because we're episodes in 9 episodes. Got to get to. Well,
yeah,
because Kingpin is technically the main bad guy, but Muse is kind of like bad guy. So want to get on that. And I hope that we kind of get there. Like I said earlier, I was bummed that we lost White Tiger, but I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm glad that like this story isn't going kind of at the end of this little story, and I'm ready to move.
I would say in the last episode, right before we see that British guy go to the get his book signed and all that kind of thing, and then I thought he was going to kill her or he's going to hold her hostage or something. I had no clue he was going to be like, and now it's your marriage counselor. The guy right before him was. I mean, at the time, I was like, what is with this guy? What the heck is the matter with him? But then as I kind of thought about it, I'm like, you think like maybe he's Muse? And he's like, yeah, I like maybe he's going to seek out therapy or something like that. I don't know. Like that, I thought about that when I was watching like this episode. I didn't even think about it at the time of the last episode.
I'm
He seemed to focus on him.
Yeah. Maybe he was the one who killed Ayala, and it's gonna be the start of like some of the art-based serial killing. That we get to maybe he ends up in some kind of tableau or something where
I'm
So he was
wondering when Matt is
painting
going to put.
all the Punishers because we had like a giant Punisher mural triggered.
Yeah.
Muse painted.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't think Matt has ever like seen those tattoos or anything like that, right? He hasn't like mentioned them, has he?
He has not
I don't
reacted to them in any way. Like and certainly he's, I guess he can't really
Can't see him.
see it. He can't see it. I mean, it's like a tattoo. It's like he's not going to be able
I
to
don't
see it. I'm just curious when somebody's going to be like, why are these cops all have these Punisher tattoos? And he's like, Punisher
like
tattoos.
like, hey, by the way, Matt, have you noticed?
Well, we know that John Bernthal will show up eventually.
Always coming. Always coming. And he's bringing hell with him. You tell him Punisher's coming.
Yeah.
And
Well, should we
I'm
move on
excited.
to the
I'm excited.
ratings?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
All right. So you want to pull up our
Oh,
fantastically made spreadsheet? Look at that spreadsheet, though.
there we go. Okay.
So I'm curious to see if you guys felt like this was better or worse than the last episode, which because it suffered from some of the same things, but also delivered a little bit more, I think, emotionally. So where are you guys at?
We'll go ahead and say I thought this was an 8. It was exceedingly emotional. Like I loved all of the character interactions from Fisk and his wife to to Murdoch and like his girlfriend and to just like Murdoch and Ayala like in the White Tiger. I thought all of those things were fantastic. It was shocking to me that there was no Daredevil and yet I was completely riveted by it.
Yeah. What you got there, bro?
I don't know. Charlie, you go first.
Oh man. All right. So I'm kind of on the same place with Dylan. I think that I was, and when I rewatch all these in a row after, it'll be kind of more fun, I think, to see how it all builds together.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
I found going from episode 1 to episode 2 a little more jarring than going from episode 2 to episode 3.
Yeah,
It's
that
kind
makes
of like
sense.
I was more ready. Like, oh, okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit more of this like legal drama, and we're kind of leaning into that a little bit more. So I think this one hit me a little bit better than that second one did at the time of watching. After I was like gassed up from episode 1, I'm like, all right, let's bring on episode 2, let's go.
Ah,
And then I
right.
had a week to kind of wait and just kind of chill. So I'm gonna say this is like an 8.4 for me.
Oh, wow.
I really liked it. I thought this was like a lot of wonderful acting. It was well written. It was a good episode. Plenty of tension. And I feel like this is like episode 4. There's no way that it's not going to be like some payoff time. Episode 4, payoff city. Better be.
Okay. Um, think
Riveting. Brody
I
thinks
think
to
I'm
himself.
gonna
What
I'm
will I
gonna
rate?
go okay, I'm gonna go a 7.9. So ever so slightly higher than episode 2. I'm missing Daredevil. I just
Look at your average there.
yeah, I know. I just want some Daredevil. It's the
In
courtroom
a
stuff
Daredevil
is
show. It's
the
crazy.
courtroom stuff is fun. It's, but it's I just want more Daredevil. Some of the stuff I this episode was interesting. Some of the stuff I really liked. Some of the stuff I was like, I don't know. Like him, I kind of talked about my thoughts on White Tiger's
Sure.
identity. How it just kind of seemed irresponsible. So yeah, 7 point. Slightly
That's a very
better, but
fair. It's a very fair rating.
once we start
No,
seeing Daredevil, I think my ratings
I love that you're trying to defend yourself. You gave it a 7.9. That's a very high rating. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like apologizing for it, like you gave it a 4 or something.
are.
Uh, it's just like point 0.1 less than Dylan. So, no, uh, we will start to see some payoff. I think coming. I'm anticipating that. I'm expecting it. I think it's going to be a lot of like a real fun ride. We're going to start get these really terrible cliffhangers at the end. It's going to be bad. And they have a 2-episode week coming, and I think just because they're going to probably do something devastating. So be emotionally ready for that.
Well, the good news is that we at Talk Talk Punch will be here
Mhm.
for you all of these recaps. Charlie, good at that.
Very.
Did you guys have anything else to add to this?
You know, we don't talk enough legal drama on this channel. We'll have to get into that. We'll litigate it later, but no, hey, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. What are you saying, Dylan? I was going to wrap it up. Go ahead.
I just said I object.
Okay, well, you certainly did.
So far, Charlie enjoys the show the most. Dylan enjoys it the least.
Overruled. I do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get lost in it. Look, I will say this just as we're wrapping up here. It's really easy to be nitpicky and complain about shows. I do it all the time, and I watch things with a critical eye and a critical lens, and I run everything through this filter, and I'm finding all the flaws. Everything is flawed, and if you can get lost in the storytelling, the narrative, the acting, whatever it may be, then you can ignore those flaws, or at least set them aside and just enjoy the show for what it is, which is beautiful imperfections. All art is. There's no perfect art, and so I'm trying my best to just be in the moment when I'm watching the show and not overthink things and just really enjoy it. So look, you're getting a kinder, gentler, more positive version of Charlie as we go through Daredevil. Because who doesn't feel kind and gentle watching Hell's Kitchen set ablaze and the devil of Hell's Kitchen rise from the flames? How can you not feel happy watching that?
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you're feeling something. Let us know what if you're liking it, if you're not liking it, if you're anxious for more Daredevil, or if you're just kind of enjoying it for what it is right now. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts, and we cannot wait to watch the next episode with you next week. We'll see you then.